things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, howdy, folks. How's your Friday? Hope you're pushing along all right. It's been a bloody hot day. What am I saying? Been still is a bloody hot day in my part of the world. I know certainly down in Victoria, people are still under some flooding threat in certain areas. And, of course, in those areas where it may have subsided a little, you'll be doing the cleanup. And, God, what a cleanup around Wye River there is to be done. Cannot believe that. Also in far north Queensland and towards central Queensland, where there's been major flooding after the ex-tropical cyclone developed a very large rain depression, dumped a whole heap of water between Mackay and Rockhampton and around Mackay as well, and right out to Claremont, which is, well, I hope not quite as underwater as it once was. Not the whole town, just the low bits. But it's you don't really care if you're living in the low bits whether or not the whole town's gone under, do you? But still, a lot of destruction around and more of it to come as they play with our weather, and we will talk more about that if time allows a little later in the show. Before we get off into Friday night frivolities, I want to address something that's playing out online in certain areas, I think through Facebook mainly. A group of trolls have decided to attack Cass Smith and I think to a certain extent Mary Jane Liddickett as well, over different things. Particularly with Cass, though, they seem to be targeting her interest in what happened at that Witherin property. Now, these trolls have decided they're very active and they seem to know everything that's gone on. And I say that very firmly, tongue-in-cheek, although one of the greater trolls admitted to me that she has absolutely no idea of what went on there, and she's going to go on and do an interview with the people on the property to find out exactly what happened. Well, I'll be honest, the people on the property are the least likely to tell you exactly what happened, if they even bother talking to you. But it is a sad reflection of these people who think they are better, smarter, more enlightened, or for whatever reason, maybe more awake, although these people are not awake, and I don't think they try to say that they are awake. They are just simply trolls who ordinarily I wouldn't give the time of day to, but they are stepping into areas where they're going to get their asses sued, and I genuinely do not wish that for anybody, regardless of how stupid some of these trolls are. I have said before, and maybe the trolls that currently watch the show are unaware of the relationship that I have with Cooker Watcher and the relationship that we had leading up to the one that I currently have with her, which is we don't talk to each other much, but that's because we've got a mutual level of sort of respect that's, we've talked ourselves into a position where we know neither of us is going to change our position. There's no point in hating each other for it. But I haven't spoken to her in probably 12 months. So hello, if you're watching. I'm very happy to have conversations with people who want to debate facts. I am not interested in feeding the ravenous appetite of sticky beaks who have absolutely no relationship to anybody or anything that happened at Witherin. They are simply there thinking there is some great story to attack Cass Smith with, and I can promise you there isn't. While there will be differing opinions as to who did what, where, and when, I can tell you with great impartiality, because I have no skin in the game, right? I just lived it. I experienced what these people are like in great, minute detail. And I wasn't the only one. There are others who these trolls and you know nothing about. You've heard me talk about one maybe in my time here on the show. But there are a number of others who have been greatly harmed in various different ways by certain people involved with all this bullshit. And that's why, unless you are directly involved with it, I would be very careful about sticking your nose into something that you have no right, no. I mean, what is your need to know? Is there a need to know? These trolls are attacking Cass on her credentials about helping people make money. Now, I ask you, my audience, has Cass Smith robbed you in the SMSF business that she has brought to our attention on this show? I have brought to our attention. It's not her. I invited her on the show. So, have you lost money? These trolls are jealous. It's all I can put it down to, or just blind stupid. They don't understand the information that's being imparted to them. And what particularly disappoints me is that there is one troll named Sharon who is simply a woman hater. She hates a successful woman. She must, to say some of the things that she has. Now, this particular troll has got rather incensed, and she pushed a button in me because I believe that this troll in particular is, well, for those of you who used to watch old Australian soap operas, she's an Esme Watson. I think I might call her Esme from now on instead of Sharon. She wants to stick her nose in everybody else's business, but doesn't like it when somebody sticks their nose in hers like I have. Now, you, my adoring audience, who may not adore me too much after tonight, will have had experience with me and trolls before. You will understand how I treat them. I have no tolerance for them. If you expect me to be polite to them, unlikely, unless they are showing signs of being polite in return. I tend to treat trolls publicly how they treat their target. Only I don't defame them like these stupid bastards seem to want to do and get themselves sued. And I genuinely have made offers to say, listen, you're going to get sued saying shit like that. Don't say that. But oh no, I'm just a shill. And there is some dude who made a absolutely atrocious video about shills and snakes and ladders, which Facebook took down, but he keeps sending me and bragging, saying it's been put back up again. And he even personally sent it to me as a messenger. I think after I mentioned it the other night, he thought I might actually play it. I want to make it perfectly straight, folks. I don't want to play it. I think Facebook did a favor to this guy by taking it down, if that's what they did, because it's a seriously twisted piece, and it's so poorly produced, so poorly written, so poorly everything that I really wouldn't want to put you through it. I mean, it's an embarrassment, and it would be hard pressed for me not to take the piss out of it on a full take the piss out of it basis. I mean, at the moment, I've just suggested that he go back to watching his favorite TV show, Breaking Bad, because I figure that's what it is after watching that swill that came out of him. But anyway, you might see that floating around. Neither Cass nor I could give a flying turd what people call us, what names they think we are, what opinions they have of us. Those people who know us, those people who have had dealings with us on a personal or a professional basis, know the kind of people that we are. For those trolls that are now very offended that I have, inverted commas, attacked them inside their own chats where they live and breathe this filth that comes out of them and the spin that comes out of people like old Esme there, it amazes me. What you fail to realize, and maybe you're only new to the show, I've spent 40 plus years in professional commercial media. I have spent 40 plus years dealing with little snot-nosed turds like you who have an opinion, and you're welcome to it, but who decide that they want to come around and be Dr. Cluedo, or Inspector Cluedo rather, and find out fantasies, make up rumors, and spread lies. I detest you, each and every one of you. If you could actually hold an adult conversation, I would welcome it. And I actually thought I could reach out to this guy who put the song together and maybe could build a bridge, a bit like I did with Cooker Watch, but he's made it very clear he's not smart enough to see that for what it is. He thought I was being two-faced because I would attack him publicly and try and reach out privately to build a bridge. Well, maybe I don't think it's two-faced. I'm trying to build a bridge, and attacking him publicly is more just for my amusement than anything else. I use words and insult them in ways they've got to go and get friends to interpret for them, I'm sure. But I am a bad human being. This is what I pray every night to God, that he forgives my sins, because trolls like this feed the worst part of me, and I enjoy it, and I shouldn't. Trolls like this feed the worst part of me, the part I've spent years trying not to be. So I might go hard occasionally, but I'll pull back, and I'll let you hang yourselves publicly. And then publicly I might just swing on your legs just to make sure you're hung. But that is because of the way you people attack people I respect in this movement, in this sphere. Yes, there are shills. Yes, there are people who I don't respect, and quite a number of them are named in that video. But when you are told that you're on the wrong track and there is evidence to prove you're on the wrong track, have the smarts to back down a little bit and have a rethink of your position. Because while I don't expect too many of you have got much more than 20 cents to rub together, the art of being sued isn't about how much money you've got. It's how much they can fuck your life right up to the point where you don't have any more money. And I know I've had those try and attempt that with me. It's always failed. Why? Because I actually have proof. If I call you something, a very specific name, I call you that because I can prove that's what you are. I don't make up lies about you. I don't exaggerate. I'll tell you the truth. All you have to do is ask the questions. What questions would they be? Well, you can ask me anything. Whether I choose to tell you the answers would really depend on whether or not it's any of your business to know about it. And I can tell you everything about Withering. But is it your business to know? Should it not be enough to know that from me, who spent more time on that property than Cass Smith did? I spent nearly a year longer on that place than Cass Smith did. You might think I'd know a bit about what went on. And if I give you a friendly warning about stay away, you're going to get sued. And it may not be by Cass Smith or me, because those poor people of Withering, I think there's a few that aren't too happy with you either. So for the trolls who are upset that I speak very badly and I insult you and I swear, fuck off. I don't care that you're insulted. I don't care that you're upset. I don't care. I don't threaten you in any way, shape, or form. You know, I just point out how bloody stupid you are, and I use your own words to beat you to death. This Cass and Sharon, I won't use her last name. I'll give her that level of respect at the moment. I'll just call her Esme. Esme was made a very substantial offer through me from Cass last night or the night before. And that was to supply all the answers and all the contact details to everybody involved with the Withering project, so that this Esme could, I suspect she'd have got weak at the knees and a little trembly and wet in places, because to get that kind of access, you know, when you're actually a friggin' nobody who, you know, is probably most excited thing is to go out and change the laundry every other day. I suspect that you're just an Esme, that you are nothing and a nobody and a sticky beak. And I find it insulting that you think you've got any right to go and look at anything at all. And I'll tell you that to your face, in emails, in private messages, in texts. If you do ever get stupid enough to get my phone number and ring me, I'll tell you face to face or on the phone. You people you're offered everything you wanted, and you're too stupid, too afraid, I don't know what you are. But at any rate, Esme, you didn't want all those details. You didn't want everybody's contact details so that you get on with everybody. No. Why would that be, I wonder? I hear some interesting things are happening down at the property down there at the moment, folks. And not for me to say whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I would just say buyer beware if you're considering something like that. And if you want to have an off-the-record conversation, maybe I can enlighten you a little bit. But I'm not going to help out trolls. I don't care enough about you. Cass doesn't care enough about you. You will be exposed, and the lies that you are spreading, the damage that you think you are doing, will be expunged, because the truth wins out. Thank God. Somebody you pricks probably don't know too much about. All right, let us move on. And, well, it is Friday night. I should bring in the man who waves and smiles a lot. There he is, smiling and waving. On cue. God, don't do that. You look like that Cameron guy of the bloody Snakes and Ladders video. The freak. All you need to do is put on a little military helmet and look like you've been on it for 4 days. You'd be fine.
Yeah, I lost it. I had it around here somewhere, but I can't find it. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, do you have a pith helmet handy?
Oh, hang on. No, wait a minute. I could do this.
There you go. Good enough. How are you, mate? How's your week been?
Very busy, lots of things happening on the My Place Australia front. So we're getting very busy there. Got a couple of new stewards that have just joined, which is great. Takes the load off the current people that are doing it. Listening to what's been happening in the news front with the wonderful bill that needs to be shredded, right? Which you probably almost got yourself done for hate speech tonight already.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've identified a certain cultural aspect, but it's interesting that you bring up that bill because Albanese has just signed off on a massive 43% pay rise for government lawyers. And really? Guess what? We've got a Royal Commission coming along. We've got all these interesting cases that are going to be brought before the courts in the, I suspect, High Court and the Federal Court over the coming year. Captain Clink with the beard. Yeah, so Albo, I think, is in a position now where he is practically untenable as a leader going forward. This 500-page piece of shit that really isn't worth hanging in the outhouse to wipe your crack on doesn't even mention radical Islam. Those two words do not appear in it at all. In fact, it doesn't criticize Islam in any way, shape, or form. And I watched a piece. I thought I recorded it. Well, yeah. Well, it gives them an out because there is an out for radical preachers like this bloke. Now, this bloke, I should on that one. No, sorry, beg your pardon. I got my pictures out of order. This is the new IDF chief rabbi. All right. And he says that it's okay for the IDF soldiers to rape women to boost morale. He says that you don't have to worry about them. It's not like they're going to heaven anyway. Their heaven, that is. And here was his advice for Gaza. Kill the babies. Shoot everyone.
Are we sure that's actually what he said or not just some third-party bullshit?
Well, there are a lot of
trouble
things
is nowadays there's so much misinformation. I mean, I'm not so
So-
au fait with the Jewish bits and pieces, but as far as I am concerned, if the Jews are following the first part of the Bible, that's sort of still a major sin. So,
Well, I'm going to put something up at the end of the show tonight. My closing picture at the end of the show tonight. I want you to stick around and look at that, folks. It might explain a little bit further about the links, or how deeply the links of Judaism reach, and not so much good Judaism, if you can put it that way, because there are very good, very wonderful Jews. We are talking about the Zionist Jews here, but this piece of paper is so old that it refers to Judaism or Jews in general. It doesn't break them down into the Zionist or the other type. So bear that in mind when you read it, but it's a very, very interesting piece. Now, speaking of Israel have been sending back channel messages to Iran, from all accounts, saying, "Oh, listen, Ayatollah, we're not interested in attacking you. So don't go and get too upset about that. We're not interested in attacking you." And yet, reports indicate anywhere between 12 and 20,000 Iranian citizens were shot in the streets a couple of nights ago. There is a lot of video available, some of it very, very distressing to watch. I've chosen not to play any of it here, but that's probably more because I forgot to download it than I didn't want you to see it. So I apologize for that. But it's not AI vision. This is stuff that's been recorded and, by the sounds of it, smuggled out of Iran somehow, because from my understanding, Iran no longer has any internet coverage available to them. All the while, Israel saying, "We're not going to attack you." Some? Okay, some limited.
Some, only because Elon's supplying it.
Yeah, right. So then what does Benjamin Netanyahu do? After getting off the phone to the Ayatollah saying, no, we're not going to attack you, he gets on a plane and flies to Florida, where he starts encouraging Donald Trump to attack Iran because of the murders being carried out on their streets by the Ayatollah's irrational government. And that is where we see B-52s and B-1 bombers and stealth bombers lifting off and being placed all over the world. We've seen Marines being moved around the world. And right now, the world is positioning itself for war, even right as we speak, that if you are flying anywhere near Iran, and it's about how close you're going to get there, everybody is avoiding it, just like they were a few months ago when Israel and Iran started firing rockets at each other over the borders. And, of course, the Americans came in and totally got rid of the nuclear program, according to Donald John Trump. Was that the truth? He probably thought it was at the time, but was it the real truth? Who knows? The question I want to ask, Vince, is that if America does go in over the weekend and start bombing Iran, and it has used the excuse of, if you keep attacking your people, we're going to come in and kick your ass, where were they while Israel murdered over 40,000 people in Gaza?
Don't ask me. I'm not going to answer any of those questions purely on the fact that I don't have enough information to do so properly.
Very diplomatic. No, I haven't seen.
And I'm not running for politics either, by the way. But I just don't want to give an answer.
Yeah, well, how do the Americans get off doing that, really? The Iranians killed 12,000 people in a night in the streets.
Well, let me ask you this question, though. All right, let me ask you this question. Are you happy having 3,000 Gazans come into this country?
No. I'd prefer
Why?
they lived in Gaza.
Why?
Where are they going to live?
No, it's not so much that, but is there another reason? Would it happen to be?
There are 1,000 reasons
Gaza
why I wouldn't want them here. There are 1,000 reasons. They're traumatized. They're, in a lot of cases, pre-programmed to do serious harm to others. They are They suffer mental health issues. They're going to go straight onto our NDIS, which is currently getting flogged harder than a good hooker on a Saturday night. And well, I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. But
I got him going, guys. I got him going.
well, no.
Well, there's nothing to the
Australia-
fact that they were a major terrorist organisation. But yeah, no.
Well, no, Gazans aren't.
The
Gazans
people
aren't
who
major
led
terrorists.
Gaza, the people who
Yeah, well,
were in
that's not the
charge.
question. If you ask me whether or not we're inviting
but how do
3,000
we-
Hamas operatives in,
How do we know we didn't?
well, apparently the Israelis know because they just selectively killed, the bad ones and let the good ones live. Apparently,
Really, but our Australian government are not the Israelis. So how do we know?
well, they believe the Israeli
We
government.
don't. 1 hour. 1 hour.
No. The Australian government believes the Israeli government. You and I aren't the ones standing at the border, brother.
But hang on, didn't they
We
also
may
just
not
say
believe them. We may not believe it, but the Australian government, led by these two fucktards, they get to decide
someone's giving-
who gets to come into this country.
someone's giving Susie
Right.
Wong a bit of a lift? That's nice.
You think that's nice?
Oh, well, I'm just saying that.
It'd
was
leave a
kind
very
of-
sour taste in the mouth. That's all I'm saying. We could probably start
gonna
with
get
getting rid of a
myself in
few
trouble.
others in the parliament as well.
Yep.
You want to pull that comment out of the way? It's only been there for 20
Oh,
minutes.
sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry. My apologies.
So, we could do with getting rid of them to begin with at the next election, which brings me to, I guess, the next election. America is all over these hate speech laws. This is the Undersecretary of State. The statute that imprisons you for calling to deport jihadist extremists but provides safe harbour if you are a jihadi extremist would be deeply perverse. Let's hope this isn't what Australia intends. It is exactly what this document intended. Yep. I saw a piece of interview yesterday. One of the senators asked this female bureaucrat, in part responsible for putting together this 500-piece of schlock that she was there to try and defend. The senator asked whether or not the documentation, the law, would protect Jews. And she said, oh, yes, it'll very definitely protect Jews and Sikhs. And she said, okay, that's good. That's good. She said, what about Catholics? Oh, well, no, it won't protect Catholics because Catholics, that's not really a cultural thing. That's, that's something different again. So no. She said, well, what about Christians?
No.
They're the same as Sikhs and Jews. Will this law protect Christians? And after her face went brighter than her red hair, she said no. So if you are a Christian, this 500-piece of hate speech bill is entirely designed to hate you.
Yep.
You are not protected in any way. And there are so many other weaknesses in it. Weaknesses like you don't actually have to say something offensive to cause offense. Somebody might have felt
they just got to feel
something. Yeah. Well, explain
I'm
that.
sorry,
I
Carl, that's it. You're off the air, mate. You've offended me.
Oh, fair's fair. Well, I've offended a few trolls in the last 24 hours. I mean, I've offended a lot of them, but their lack of intelligence and their poor ability to communicate, absolutely zero ability to debate, and their complete and naked desire to show just how weak they are when they're offered everything they ask for and can't accept it because, oh, shit, I don't know what to do with it now. I've got everything. You're like the dog that chased the car and friggin' caught it. It's like, oh, shit, what do I do with it now?
Do with it now.
Idiots. Anyway, so this brings us around to, Black Sheep has a comment going forward. He thinks that there should be new laws. The new one doesn't go far enough. the government needs to pass a law that every time a certain music is played on loudspeakers, then we, the people, should stop whatever we're doing and line up and lick the boots of a politician. It could be called the bootlicker law. Each town, each suburb could have a politician sitting on a throne so we can all line up and lick his boots. And the penalty for being late or not lining up to lick their boots would be hard labour and a 10-year prison sentence. Seems no more unrealistic than some of the shit being churned out by Victorian and federal politicians right now. Except, maybe, for one. Pauline Hanson's One Nation has steamrolled its way to some significant poll results. Now, I don't know how much faith you place in polls. I personally don't place too much at all. But if you don't place too much faith in the polls, and in prior, the polls have already shown Pauline to be down in the single-figure department, or One Nation to be in the single to low double-figure department when it comes to, you know, the percentage of Australians who would vote for them. Well, that's had a huge kick. Pauline Hanson and One Nation are now equal pegging with the completely lost and lunatic-like Liberal Party and their national muppets who are dragging along behind them. Even though there are good people like Matt Canavan, who's working very hard in the National Party to show that there is some level of leadership and certainly a level of intelligence in the National Party. It's just that the leadership there seems to be bereft of, well, all of it, leadership and intelligence. So I don't know how much longer. I mean, he believes in the National Party, I guess, but he's the kind of bloke that needs to come over and talk with Pauline Hanson and co going forward. Now, Pauline, we have got a thing on our VOFHQ.com website where you can leave a suggestion of what Pauline Hanson should be doing, a key performance indicator. I believe that if we are going to vote at the next election, sorry, that's really hard to get out of my mouth, but if we are going to vote and we're going to take it seriously, then there are 3.5 million of us that didn't vote in the last election. There are a lot more who did donkey votes just so that they didn't have to. We need to motivate, excite, and get that, or a large percentage of that audience, out and get them behind One Nation, because just being level pegging with the Liberal National Party isn't enough to win and put Barnaby Joyce in as the Prime Minister of the country. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. But that is ostensibly what would happen right now if Pauline and One Nation won in our next election. I think it would be wonderful, to be honest. But I think One Nation has a much higher chance, certainly a much higher chance of winning the Senate and holding the balance of power in the Senate. They are, from what I'm led to believe, planning on running a person in every lower house seat. And who knows, they could get quite a few elected in there too. One of them won't be Pauline, obviously. She will be, unless there is a plan at some point to take her out of the Senate and parachute her into a safe seat and have a by-election and put her into the lower house after the fact, and she could be the Prime Minister then there would be a by-election for a Queensland Senate seat. It gets messy, that kind of thing. But the people might demand that. All right? And I can't see it happening, but yeah, possible. Oh. So what do we want her to do? Well, she's come out with a 90 billion, that's with a B, a $90 billion policy. Now, I haven't gone into costing it and all that kind of stuff, but the proposal includes Australia withdrawing from the United Nations. That's a big tick.
Yep.
The World Health Organization, that's the WHO. That's another big tick. The World Economic Forum, the WEF, that's another huge tick. She plans on dissolving the Department of Climate Change. Oh, my God. Pauline.
Yes, please.
Whew, God, I'm getting hot. And tightening the National Disability Insurance Scheme so that only support goes to those who truly deserve it. In just 24 hours, support for One Nation Party has surged by 19%, reaching a record high. Hansen claims the $90 billion in annual savings will be returned to the people invested in coal to reduce electricity prices by 30%. And I think you can believe it when she says that, because Malcolm Roberts came out of the coal industry and he'll know exactly how to play that card, and used to build hydroelectric or rebuild hydroelectric dams and the national rail system. She's got a 12-word message that's spread virally about the whole thing. Apparently, I don't know what that 12-word message is, but probably, words to the effect of, Albo, get the fuck out of Dodge, mate. There's new blood in town. So what else would you add to those key performance indicators so that you could see we weren't just electing the same shit under a different name back into a broken system? What would you insist that, to get your vote, One Nation needed to look at to revamp, to repair, to revitalise our Australian Parliament? What would they do to reinstill trust in Australian politics and politicians? Because at the moment, the trust level of politicians is so low that you could put a tag on it and parachute it out of a snake's arsehole and it would still free fall. So
I've got to love, I don't know, 40 years of commentary on the radio. That's all it can be. Where he gets these sayings from, guys, I have no idea.
I got some very dirty ones. I hold myself back from saying them quite regularly. But it's true. How is Pauline going to rebuild national trust in politics, in politicians? Because it's not just the likes
Doing
of me.
What Trump does. Do what Trump does. He says he's going to do something, then he bloody well does it. So if she gets us out of the hoof, she gets us out of the wet, if she goes out there and gets coal running, gets our oil and our gas back under our control, increases our infrastructure, that's how she does it. Sorry.
That's good. Why didn't you write that on the thing at vofhq.com?
I'm letting the other people who are not as politically charged as what I am have a go, right, before I go and put my list in.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. So, folks, why don't you go and write some of these things down on the website, vofhq.com. It's right at the very top of the website. Click on it. You'll be able to leave your comment, and Vince will approve it. The trolls will probably like to leave a comment. I can tell you he won't approve it, but I can tell you how I'd reply to it. Yeah, I can tell you how I'd reply to it. I'll give you a visual. But serious comments, gratefully accepted, and will be posted up, because this is serious. If you're going to convince someone like me, if you're going to convince someone like Darren Bergworth that there is any kind of future in an election, then we need a set of KPIs to say, at the end of that term, let's say One Nation is given the privilege of ruling this nation, then at the end of that 3-year term, before they call the election, they have to produce those KPIs and show the people, well, this is what we did, this is what we said, and this is what we did. And the people then would decide on whether or not they had fulfilled those KPIs and are going to support the system, not just One Nation, but the system for another 4 years. Because right now, I don't believe the system is supportable. I believe the system is subverted from within, and until somebody, please, Pauline, make this a mandatory part of your policy, somebody has to clean out the bureaucracy. Somebody has to clean out the shiny bums and sit them on a very hard seat, maybe a Spanish horse. A Spanish horse, until they provide the answers to the questions they are asked, truthfully, until they provide the directions to find the bodies that are and have been buried by the bureaucracy for the last 30 to 50 years, the bodies, the lies that have kept Australia in chains. It is the bureaucracy that maintains that, people, not the politicians. The politicians are an illusion of power. They come and they go. The bureaucrats, along with a couple of long-term politicians, are the way this works. And we need a political party to clean out the bureaucracy. And I believe you can't clean out the bureaucracy. I believe you just have to start again with something completely new. Because the bureaucracy is so badly and so deeply corrupted that by cleaning it out, you would in effect be hamstringing yourself from being able to do the business of government. Because let's be honest, do you think Pauline Hanson or Malcolm Roberts or anybody else who sits in those places in our name has the skills or ability to walk around the corridors and find any information out, to find details of anything, anywhere? Do you really think they know where to look? They don't.
What I would like to do is to see a coalition, say, between One Nation and People's First Party. And then I know a certain man there who would be able to go through and do just that. Right? But we need to have a coalition of these minor parties need to come and form a coalition. It means they don't have to give up their party, but they could at least all work together and take control. Right? Because our choices are we stick with the devils we've got, and we know both of them. That's called Liberal and Labor, right? Or we put in someone else that might just shake up the boat and do what it. I mean, we could be totally wrong. Let's be fair. Someone said controlled opposition, maybe, right?
Maybe, but
we've got to
convince,
know until we try.
I can see the argument. You've used that for the last two federal elections. I think that I've known you for. Well, we've got to try. Well, how much longer do we beat our head against that wall trying? Do we draw a line after this? If we can't, as a nation,
there's only one other solution, and I don't like it.
That's right.
There's only one other solution, and I don't necessarily like that. But
so if
you're wondering what I'm talking about, have a look at Iran right now.
If we as a nation can get one nation elected outright, there is no problem then. But what do we do in 4 years' time when nothing's really changed? When the bureaucracy
got it wrong.
have slowed, when the bureaucracy have deliberately slowed down the process that One Nation want to force through, what do we do then? Because no amount of elections is going to fix the bureaucracy. No amount of election can fix it.
Well, yes, no, because we need to find. Actually, that's probably worth doing some research on. Who, in fact, controls the bureaucracy, and does the government have the right to sack a lot of people in the bureaucracy? If they do, then that's how we start. If they've got the power to do that, right?
Yes,
so we have to. That's something I'm going to have to look up because I'm not sure on that. But if I was running, it'd be this department. You don't want to answer my questions, then bye department.
Well, how do you do that with the Department of Home Affairs? Bye department.
Which part? What part of the department would you like to trim down?
That Department of Home Affairs. Because that Department of Home Affairs is headed up by a grey-haired old woman who likes driving her little Porsche around Canberra looking flash, and she couldn't lie straight in bed. She is a measly mouth thing that always comes fully prepared to estimates, but it'll have to take your question on notice.
Yeah.
All right? And she's the one that has a fucking hand stuck up the arse of Tony Burke, protecting that prick at every turn.
Do we need it? Can we make another department with this? Yeah, probably.
Well, you'd need to destroy the
gives all our
Department of
money
Home
away
Affairs.
to someone else.
You'd have to destroy the Department of Home Affairs and rebuild it from the ground up.
Okay.
You would have to do that. You would have to do that to every department. And then where do you find the replacements for the people you sack? Because you can't just sack the heads, because the heads have been training their replacements for the last 10 years. And those people have been training their replacements for the last 5 years. There's 3 layers of deception and deceit in our bureaucracy. I'm sure of it. They can't just, these bureaucrats work to retirement, right? They work to retirement. They take the most, the biggest out of the public purse. They get the best of everything when it comes to superannuation. And they milk the public tit until the very last day they can, where they hand over to their perfectly well-groomed underthing, who they lift up and lord into the chair. All the secrets go forward, hail you, O Lord. And then that thing's underthing gets lifted up into the second spot and learns the next level of secrets, which he is going to need to protect. And what makes it interesting is that these department heads can be moved in cross departments. So if you get caught doing something stupid in one, they move you out of it and put you into another one. Because it really doesn't matter where you are in the government. It's just that you're in it, still getting paid and keeping your mouth shut.
Okay, so that requires somebody at the top to be a little bit more bullish and actually do things like put in RFJ, right, or Robert Kennedy for health, put in Christy Nome. We need people like that to be put in charge of these departments, right? Or the people who are rolling.
I'm sorry, did you just say you want RFK in charge of our Home Affairs Department?
No, but I'm as an example of people who
we have anybody
aren't
from
going
outside
to go
Australia
with them.
Heading these up.
Okay, you missed the point. You
I
totally
have,
missed the
completely.
point. What I'm saying is that you need to have people who are going down the same path as you and your movement in charge of the top level of those departments and start cleaning out the fat.
No, you just need
right?
people who are fucking honest.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you just need people who are honest, who will work for the right thing, that we the people. That's all you need. And what I'm saying is that you will not find any of them in the current bureaucracy. They have been programmed from university through.
Yeah, that's if you're taking the political. But
you might find a few in the typing
who's in
pool,
charge? The bureaucracy is under the minister. The minister's in charge. Is that not the case?
Fuck me. Have you never watched?
Unless, of course, you watch. Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. But then again, there's Yes Minister, which tells the truth. Yeah. I'm sorry.
There is never a better show to show you exactly how useless a minister is, because all a minister does is speak what his advisors advise him to speak. That's all that ministers do. They are mouthpieces that the public, for some reason, has decided to trust. They do not work on anything in the background other than, well, I would have loved to have known how much work Albanese put into this bill the last 5 years. Oh, listen, we've just got to protect the Jews, but we don't want to say that. We don't want to throw all the hate preachers in jail. That'd be awful. So make sure there's a loophole for them. Where is the bureaucrat that's going to stand up to that level of incompetency? Because he's on $1 million plus a year, plus all the benefits, plus 15 or 20% super. Where do we think these people are going to be honest with we the people before their own interests? They are never going to do that. They are in the bureaucracy for the fucking payoff at the end, and that's the big check that you and I provide.
Ongoing. And then they can still get themselves another job and collect pension at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. They get a gold card, free flights for life, all that sort of shit. What have they done to deserve
Silver
that?
Fox, if on one of those lack experienced ministers, in fact, that's probably partly true, but on the same effect, they'd have a new train of thought, not the experience of the bribes that have been going currently.
And you would hope that they would have the balls, the strength, the intestinal fortitude to stand up to the bureaucrats who say, "Oh, you can't do that."
I mean,
because that's where you know you've got them. When the bureaucrats come to you and say, "Oh, you can't do that," nobody's ever done that before. You can't do that. That's exactly what you've got to do, because nobody's done it before. Everything's been done before, hasn't worked.
Yeah. Well, I know a couple of the people who are running currently for One Nation here in South Australia, and both of those will tell them to go and get stuffed. Both of those people will tell them. The bureaucrats.
Right. Well, let's hope
they'll tell the bureaucrats to go and get stuff. Well, they're going to get South Australian election, so.
Oh, well, that's not going to help. But yeah, that'd be great.
No, it's a start. It's a start.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
I agree. But we need to fix the bureaucracy. That's the biggest issue that we have. The freaking bureaucracy.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that we should probably, because we're a fair way in the show, and we should probably do something about this.
Yes, Wade. I was going to mention that at the end of the show, but yeah, we can do that now. Right. So, yes, I would ask if you are so inclined to keep Wade Northhausen in your prayers, folks. Wade had a stroke, from all accounts, a fairly serious stroke, just after Christmas, and he is currently recovering. I have been in text contact, if you like, with Belinda and Nick, and I think the thing that they really want to get across most at the moment is that there are some useless, weak dogs out there, no doubt trolls, like the blobfish I've been dealing with, who would start up fundraising things in Wade's name. Do not donate to anything that is asking for money for Wade for his recovery, to aid in his recovery. Wade and his team, Belinda, Nick, are not asking anybody for financial contributions toward Wade's recovery at the moment. But if you want to make a donation, you can do so at billboardbattalion.com. I think it's .com/donate. It might be .com.au/donate. But go to the Billboard Battalion website, and there is a donate button there, as you'll find one on our page. And if you want to give something, then by all means do. But please be aware that Wade, Belinda, Nick, everybody associated with Billboard Battalion are not asking for anybody to set up these GoFundMe sort of arrangements for them, and they are not associated with them in any way. So please do not give any of your hard-earned to somebody who might be claiming they're collecting on behalf of Wade. And yes, please keep Wade in your prayers. Wade has been a tireless campaigner for folks in the bush. He has driven thousands upon thousands upon thousands of kilometres in his bus around this nation, bringing the message in every town and city he stopped at. Most recently, he spent times on the street in Sydney at Christmas time with Glenn Fisher, who I've got to get a hold of, and caught up with him and the homeless folks on the streets of Sydney. And then, tragically, not long after that, he had this stroke. So, very sad. We are praying for a full and speedy recovery. And I'm sure, given some of the energy healers that we have here, I know you have to work with permission. I'll put a message into Belinda and see that we can get that permission for you. But yeah, it's a very sad day yesterday when we learned that. I don't think they had made that news public up until that point. So terribly sad. My thoughts and best wishes and my prayers are with Wade and his family as we struggle on through this at the moment. You got anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm just realised that we've got a little glitch on our own page for the donkey lottery. I'm just fixing it now.
Very good, because that's what I was about to mention. We've got about 250 tickets left in that donkey lottery, folks. we want to give you $750 or an ounce of silver in 1/10 coins, which I don't have in front of me at the moment. I'm sorry.
Which is the
and they're very
last you're
cute.
going to get.
And they're the last you're going to get, according to Vince. So
Yep.
I have that in my hot little hand ready to send to you. And we can't get rid of it until we've get rid of it, so to speak. Then we might rest the whole lottery idea for a while. We do have a couple of other things planned, and we do have a bit more silver to give away. It won't be in the form of 1/10, though. It will be in the form of a reasonable sized bar. So watch out for that. That's coming up real soon. And we look forward to being able to help you add to your stack with that. And thank you to one of you who've donated it for the competitions. Yeah. So, and I guess when it was donated, it might have been worth maybe $350, $450, something like that. I think today it's probably worth $700 and whatever plus dollars. Given that, go and look up what a 5-ounce Ainslie bar is online. Given that the price right now is $136.55, you've got to be pretty chuffed with the way the price is going. There's a bit of a drop this morning, a bit of a candle yesterday where it plummeted down to nearly $130 an ounce. We call that plummeting. How long ago was it? We were saying 46, it might go to 50, or gee, it might go to 60, or it might go to 70. Here we are saying, when's it going to hit 150? My guess is early next week, middle of next week, late next week at the very latest. It'll hit 150 Australian. And there are many, many reasons why that would be the case. One of those reasons will be this 80-year cycle. Now, this is something that came from Ainslie Bullion. They put it up through their Ainslie Insights yesterday. I would urge you to go and read the article. I'm going to show most of it here. This chart shows an 80-year cycle. It's called the 4 turnings cycle. And if you look down the bottom, you'll see the 4th turning, then the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th turning as you go across the bottom. These turnings are approximately 20 years in duration. And you can see that the last 4th turning, which was at the beginning of this graph here, the light blue line is the gold-silver ratio. Now, you can see the gold-silver ratio from 1929 to about 1943 was very, 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 very strong. Then there was a drop. Stocks came into the world and properties and other bits and pieces. But you can see that the gold-silver ratio during the 1st turning, where it suffered the steepest drops, stayed low. Now, that 1st turning is, bear in mind, around 20 years. So is the 2nd turning, around 20 years. But in the 2nd turning, you see that the blue line starts to recover. It gets stronger in the 3rd turning, and then in the 4th turning, it hits those same highs again. We, right now, are in that 4th turning, folks. And that is why silver is going the way it is. So a little historical data from Ainslie Bullion, and you can go and see all the Ainslie Bullion Insights releases on their website at ainsliebullion.com.au. I woke up this morning and had a look at the gold silver index. It was at 49.66. That's the first time I've seen it under 50. At the moment, it's sitting at 50.3. You might find that by tomorrow morning it goes down again. The price is going to go up. The price is going to go down. The price is going to keep going up. Don't worry about these slides backwards, folks, these little pullbacks, folks. If you can buy in the dip, that's what that's called. If you've got an urge to buy, then buy when those slips happen, because depending on how much you're buying, I guess you're going to save $4, $5, $6 an ounce maybe at certain times. And believe you me, that adds up in the end. You might be able to afford a few more bars of whatever it is that you're buying. And don't forget to mention Voice of Freedom or leave my name and at the door or online if you're ordering online in the notes section, and you will get a little discount, which also might eventually get you a little bit more. I've got one thing I want to close up with tonight. We have spoken about weather modification, climate change, and associated other things for many years on this show. I have shown you evidence that I believe would substantiate an inquiry into weather modification using high power emitters, things that heat certain parts of our atmosphere, certain kinds of emitters that interact with some of the foreign substances that have been sprayed into our skies. Now, New Zealand had a big find yesterday, I think it was, might have been the day before. They found 2 cargo ships. Now, these are where the cargo ships were located at the time. But those cargo ships were seen to be operating some very strange equipment that was definitely aimed at the heavens. And it just so happened that New Zealand is experiencing, I think across the North Island at the moment, something akin to a cyclone. Also, that particular arrow at the top, that's also directing shit towards far north Queensland. What's happening in far north Queensland at the moment? It's building another tropical cyclone. So if you look there and there, you can see that this boat in the top is capable of energizing the atmosphere for thousands of kilometers north. These emitters that we've seen working on land are on these boats. Been saying it for ages. And rest assured, our summer for wetness and wind is not over yet for Queenslanders and quite possibly New South Welshmen. They sent a cyclone down to northern New South Wales last year, or the year before. What's to say they won't go and do it again? So let's just keep an eye out and let's all just stay safe. But we do know that there are bastards out there hunting for us, and one of them is dressed like this. That should be enough. Oh, I've got a question for you. Only one of these pictures is photoshopped. Can you tell which one? You'd be much more articulated if you weren't muted. I mean, you're muted.
Sorry, I had a cough. Yeah. So
right.
I said I do like the Holden.
I do like the Holden too. Pauline on the front of a sand. Well, I don't know if it's a Sandman, but you know, pretty decent old beast. All right, folks, gonna love you and leave you. Vincenzo, thank you for everything that you do and the week that you've done for me. You are a great man amongst us, and I know you're a bit chuffed at the way Silver's going at the moment too. So I'm very happy that you have a smile on your face.
Well, there's a few things. I'm just hoping that enough future Australians wake up enough to make a change. And I'm going to say it because I always need to. For those of you who don't vote, then you don't have a right to say shit.
Yes. Yep. The problem is Australians are pretty apathetic. I was one of those people, and I didn't care. I didn't want to have a say in politics, and I was prepared to live by whatever the people decided. But now I'm not.
Maybe
now I do vote.
Maybe that's a KPI. Maybe we should have one of the KPIs change the electoral system so that only the people who want to vote can vote. Not everybody's forced to.
I think there should be a box that says. I think there should be a box on every ballot paper that says no suitable candidate.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. That's another good option. That would really put a cat amongst the pigeons, wouldn't it?
Yep.
All right, look, I'm going to do this.
Okay, off you go then. It's nice when he puts himself to bed, isn't it? It's always good when the kids put themselves to bed. All right, folks, love your work. Have a great weekend. Go off and do, partying things like, oh, hang on, he's back. What? Jesus, that gets confusing on people's eyes, folks. Sorry about that. So, yeah, go off. Albo and Penny are obviously going to have a great weekend. And, well, we know how I feel about Albo, but be safe on the roads. There are fools out there, a lot of them, and some of them have a capital D imprinted right on the forehead. And they exercise that dickheadedness at every opportunity. If you happen to see it being exercised around you, try and catch it on dash cam, but make sure you're not part of it. Have a good one. Be safe, folks, and have a great weekend. I am going to be absolutely miserable tomorrow, Sunday, and quite possibly Monday, because Laura is leaving this weekend and going to Victoria. It's a hard weekend. Have a good one. Bye.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!